The POISE Foundation invests in Pittsburgh nonprofit community groups whose programs focus on the needs of black families. POISE has found a way to help some of these agencies expand upon their services. Hello, I'm Elaine Effort with another edition of Pittsburgh Profiles, brought to you in part by the new Pittsburgh Courier and the Housing Authority, City of Pittsburgh. Highmark is providing $250,000 to the POISE Foundation's Strengthening Black Families and Sustainable Black Community Initiatives. Which groups in particular have been selected? How will they expand upon their work? Joining me in the studio are Karis Jackson, Vice President of Programs at the POISE Foundation, and Mary Ann Papali, Director of Community Affairs for Highmark. Mary Ann, what kinds of programs and services will be provided as a result of the Highmark investment?
Well, one of the things that Highmark has been very interested all along in supporting is our programs that help assist the underserved communities in our region. And so with this, we recognize that there are barriers that exist for people who are African American and without health insurance and other employment and other gaps in their needs. And so one of the things that we wanted to support with this POISE Foundation grant are with regard to this program of strengthening black families. We felt that this could help support closing those gaps.
Why is Highmark interested in this?
It's just generally some of our mission that we support communities, and particularly communities with underserved areas.
So what are you looking to achieve, and how will you know that this is making a difference?
Well, so for example, we have a history of very strong relationship with the POISE Foundation. POISE Foundation's been in existence for over 30 years, and we have found that they have been very valuable and instrumental in bringing quality programming in the African American community. And so one of the things that we're hoping that these grants do, they are going on with 4 organizations, and they're going to be able to make some specific changes for the betterment of the families that they serve.
When you say that you've worked with POISE Foundation before, that this is not a new partnership, what have you done in the past?
Well, a few years ago, we gave a grant to the POISE Foundation on our Highmark Local Workforce Initiative, and in that case, the POISE Foundation was working with an organization that was training African Americans to work in the Marcellus Shale industry. And so, we had some good outcomes with the result of that. And so when they came to us with these ideas of strengthening black families and strengthening the communities, we said we wanted to be in on this.
Karis Jackson, Vice President of Programs at the POISE Foundation. So this $250,000, this award from Highmark, how is it going to be used specifically?
Sure. So at POISE Foundation, our mission is really to assist the Pittsburgh's black community in achieving self-sustaining practices. And we have 3 different ways in which we do that. One is grant making, one is leadership and advocacy, and the other is collective giving. And so when we were thinking about the best way to use our grant-making dollars, we were really thinking about where is the area that philanthropy in general is currently not investing in, specifically in Pittsburgh. And so through an environmental scan and some other due diligence, one of the areas that was really lifted up as a space that philanthropy currently wasn't really investing in was the black family. And at POISE, we really believe that if you can strengthen the black family, you can strengthen the black community. And if you can strengthen the black community, you strengthen the Pittsburgh region as a whole. And so we really wanted to take our unrestricted dollars and really begin to map out a plan that could really strengthen the family. And so when we had the opportunity to partner with Highmark to help leverage our resources in partnership with their resources to really do some bigger grants around this initiative, we were really, really excited. And so the organizations that are receiving funding from this first round are the Center That Cares, Amachi Pittsburgh. The University of Pittsburgh has a program specifically focused on teenage mothers, and also an organization in the South Hills called Melting Pot Ministries. And the great thing about this project was that we were looking for organizations that already had programming. But we're really thinking about how they could expand that programming to include a family component or a family lens. And it's really about this idea that it's important to not just work with individual people in a household in isolation. Mm-hmm. So we provide services to children, or we provide services to the family, and we provide services to fathers or mothers. And we do all of that in isolation. And we were really looking for programs to think a little bit differently and more transformative and think about how they could provide services to the whole family in general.
Give me an example. The Center That Cares that's located in the Hill District, give me an example of what they're doing and what the grant is going to help them to do more.
Sure. So they have a program that specifically works with children after school. And so we said, hey, what could you do with some resources to think about how you can include the family in that work? And so they came up with a project that's really about thinking about different things that a family could do together. And so they have a project where, 1 week the family will get together and cook a meal and serve it to each other. Another week the family will get together and do some kind of physical activity. And so just creating spaces where there are activities for families to really get together and spend real quality time together. And that is important to us because we know that spending time together is one of the characteristics, the research says that's one of the characteristics of a strong family.
And then you have Amachi, Pittsburgh, which works with children whose parents are incarcerated.
Yes, and we were really excited about that project because they're thinking about even when you have a family member that's not necessarily in the physical household, you can still create programming and think about how you can strengthen that family as a unit. And so their interest in really thinking about, even when somebody is not there, how can you build in programs and activities that can make that first person still feel like they're a part of the household, so when they eventually do come back, they're still engaged in a part of the family. And so the exciting thing about the partnership with Highmark is it allowed us to not only provide grants, but also to provide technical assistance to those organizations. And so they get to work with an expert in the field of black families who can really help them shape their programming, really help them develop a robust evaluation component, and really track and monitor how they're doing their work. This is what we call a demonstration grant. Mm-hmm. And so it's really a pilot, and so it's really important for us to have, very robust evaluation components. And so these organizations are not just getting a grant, but they're also getting technical assistance and support throughout the duration of the grant period to really help them build and test out some really creative and innovative ideas.
And so how long is the grant going to last?
So the grant was a 2-year grant. Okay. So it is for 2 years, and it will allow the first cohort of grantees to receive their grant, as well as have a year-long participation in this learning cohort with the help of technical assistance and with the help of a consultant.
Now, Marianne, what will Highmark do to evaluate the effectiveness of these programs and if the grants made any difference?
We will really rely on the POISE Foundation as they're doing some evaluation to report that out to us, and from there we'll take a look at how that worked. I think the best part about this is, as Kara said, it is a demonstration and it's a pilot, and I'm sure the POISE Foundation, if something doesn't quite fit up to the standard, I'm sure they'll be making adjustments all along because they'll be interested in carrying it forward. So we will definitely rely on the POISE Foundation and their evaluation to sort of inform us as to how things have gone.
And so what you're thinking after 2 years, is there another 250,000? Is there $500,000 or $1 million, or what's next?
One can only hope. But we don't make those promises because, first of all, we are a company and we work on an annual budget. We have to cross that bridge when we get to it, as my mother used to say. But then secondly, we want to make sure that we are looking at things appropriately, so we do want to see whether those changes or what improvements, or whether people have been able to improve their quality of life or fill some of those gaps.
So how much stress is that and pressure that, it's wonderful to be able to right now make a difference and do something with these programs that are in the communities. They know where the needs are, what needs to be done, and now they have the funding to do something. But then at the other side of the coin is it's just for 2 years. and there are no promises.
So I think the great thing about this partnership is that POISE is invested in it, and we have invested our own assets into the project. And so what the partnership with Highmark allows us to do is to leverage that. And we've also been able to secure other funding sources as well. But our hope is really that we can come out with a theory of change that really shows how when you invest in families, you invest in communities, and you improve the Pittsburgh region. So much so that other philanthropic entities will think about how they are investing in our community and think about doing something similar. And so it's really about trying to shift the paradigm of how philanthropy thinks about and invests in Black communities. And so our hope is that this work could never be sustained by POISE. It could never be sustained by POISE and Highmark. Really is going to take a community effort, but it's our hope, with the early support of Highmark, that we can get out there, show some early successes, and then leverage that and get other foundations to think about how they can make those investments as well.
Yeah, and I think that leveraging point is key too. And correct me if I'm wrong, Karis, but the POISE Foundation has gotten some national publicity on this program, correct?
Yes, we have gotten a lot of publicity.
So I think we're talking about potential that goes beyond the borders of our region.
Yes.
For the future.
Yes. And another piece of this work is also as a result of this first year of grant making and the result of the evaluations, POISE will be coming out with a position paper that talks about why it's investing in Black families and why it's important for the philanthropic sector to think about investing in Black families as well. And so there's a lot of different components to it, and we really think that we're onto something, and if we can get some early wins, that'll kind of shift the tide. And really create an environment where other people are thinking about investing in families as well.
And before you leave, I have to have you give us a quick recap about who the POISE Foundation is. Your founder, Bernard Jones,
yes.
Just what the POISE Foundation is.
So POISE Foundation is the only Black community foundation in the country. So it is the only community foundation that is specifically focused on Black people, that was created by an African American. It was created by Mr. Bernard H. Jones Sr. In 1980, and our mission is really about thinking about how we can build wealth and create resources to give back to Pittsburgh's Black community. But a lot of people don't realize it, that we are the only Black community foundation in the country, and so
I thought
it's a
you
great
were going to say in Pittsburgh.
No. Then that's a whole nother story in and of itself. But yes, so and we specifically do most of our grant making in Pittsburgh, and so it's a great asset to have here in Pittsburgh, and it's a great time when we can partner with organizations such as Highmark to help get this work done in our community.
Congratulations on your sustainability and on the new the continued
yes.
partnership with Highmark, and we'll be eager to hear the results. So thank you, Karis Jackson of the POISE Foundation and Mary Ann Papali of Highmark. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you,
Elaine,
for
having us.
Pittsburgh Profiles continues right after this message.
Do you own property in the city of Pittsburgh, or you're looking to capitalize on your investment? Become a partner with the Housing Authority of the city of Pittsburgh and maximize your profits by participating in the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Be a part of our collaborative network of roughly 2,000 owners making Pittsburgh a more livable city. Becoming a Housing Choice partner is simple and convenient. Make the choice to enjoy a variety of opportunities today. Market rate rents, the comfort of prompt monthly payments, low vacancy rates, the right to select your own tenants, and the convenience of having the authority handle the documents needed to lease your property. Contact HACP, lease your property with the Housing Choice Voucher Program, and turn your vacant property into extra income. The Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh, looking for new owners who are ready to unlock new opportunities. For more information about the program, contact Stacy Pethia at 412-456-5090, 412-456-5090, or visit online at hacp.org.
What is the new Pittsburgh Courier about? It's about impact. Because they're in tune with the Black community, advertising messages are registered and retained by Black consumers. The new Pittsburgh Courier is about believability. It's more than just reporting the news. The Courier's veteran staff knows the region and the communities it serves. It's about relevancy. The Courier's coverage of the news and positive approach to issues are meaningful and relevant to the Black consumer. The new Pittsburgh Courier is about you. It's one publication that should be in your home every week. Subscribe today by calling 412-481-8302, extension 120. That's 412-481-8302, extension 120. A year subscription is only $35. Visit their website at newpittsburghcourier.com. The New Pittsburgh Courier, a must-have for your household. Do your family a favor. Subscribe today. 412-481-8302. You're listening to Pittsburgh Profiles. I'm Elaine Effort, and joining me in the studio from the annual African American Heritage Day Parade Committee are Shonda Miles of the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust and Alex Matthews, Highmark Community Affairs Analyst. Thank you both for stopping by.
Thank you.
The event is on Saturday, October 4th, starting at 11 in the morning, rain or shine. Shonda, what's new at this year's African American Heritage Day Parade?
Every year the parade is wonderful. I think there'll be a little bit of a different route this year, but it'll still be spectacular. And then there's some activities taking place at different stations throughout the district. One that I'm helping to coordinate and really excited about are activities in the Pierce Studio on Liberty Avenue. And there'll be some arts and culture activities for kids as well as for adults there at that location.
So what is the parade route?
Well, the parade route now travels down from 12th and Liberty and will run down Liberty Avenue all the way to Stanwyck and Liberty, ending at the Fifth Avenue Place building. And even though it's a different route, we still have wonderful bands, wonderful groups coming and marching with us on that particular day.
How many people are participating, or is it still time to register?
Yeah, there's still time to register, and we're asking to people to continue to send in their information. If there's a high school band or local band that would like to march, or if there's an organization, particularly some of the Greek organizations, if you want to participate, we're asking them to do that. And one of the things that is different this year, the Road to Freedom, we're going to have various trails, 3 different trails that people can go to and take part of. And one we just mentioned at the Pierce Center. The other one is the PNC Legacy Project, and then of course at Fifth Avenue Place. And at Fifth Avenue Place, one of the things that Highmark is particularly proud to help sponsor is health information, because we believe in giving back to the community and particularly informing the community on health information. So working with the Gateway Medical Society and Dr. William Simmons, we've actually turned him in from a doctor to a medical researcher, because he has researched the history of medical professionals in the Pittsburgh area over the past 50 years. And this thing is very extensive. I just got off the phone with him, and he has really uncovered some great information.
What do you mean he's researched?
Providers, doctors and nurses who have made medical history or contribution to the medical world, who are located here in Pittsburgh, or who once was part of Pittsburgh. And for him to find this information, he's been going through various archives. He's been visiting various museums to get this information. So he's done a lot of work for this event. Even though it doesn't pay anything, he's been doing work that most researchers would spend years on doing.
And what has he found that how these medical providers, doctors, nurses, trailblazed in what ways?
Well, in speaking with him, I don't have the exact information, but he was telling me some of the information on one particular doctor who did something with transfusions and tried to make some things happen, and he was originally from Pittsburgh. And so he's going to have all that information put together. Unfortunately, it's not, hopefully we don't miss anyone, because there's a lot of people, a lot of doctors and nurses who were part of medical history that are not recorded. And so some family members may come in and they might be a little upset because their information has not been revealed.
But then that's a good thing that
right.
He's doing it, and they can be added to the information. So the parade is more than a parade, isn't it?
It's more than a parade. It's really a celebration over the past 50 years for the civil rights movement, what has happened, and we're hoping that people come down and take a part of this to not only just look at the family members who are in the parade, but to also to go to these various sites and then really look at some of the history that has taken place in the Pittsburgh and Allegheny County.
Because what is this year's theme?
The Road to Freedom.
The Road to Freedom. And who is the parade marshal?
The parade marshal is our very own Salu Dean.
Okay, and why was he selected?
Well, because he was a major part of the civil rights movement. Him along, and there was, cannot think of the gentleman's name, but there was a legislator who was really a part of making some things happen. But Sala was right there. You know, we think of Sala as our councilman, but before he was a councilman, he was very, very active in civil rights.
And how many years now, Chandra, has the African American Heritage Day Parade marched through downtown in October?
This is the 27th year.
Why has the Cultural Trust sort of been involved now?
Well, originally when I moved to Pittsburgh, I moved here to work at the August Wilson Center for African American Culture, and so the parade terminated right in front of the August Wilson Center for a few years, and then people would go inside to partake kind of in activities. And so at the time I was doing programming there, and I'm just really grateful to Richard Morris and Michelle Jackson and Mrs. Doris Williams and everyone on the parade committee for keeping me after I transitioned my job. And so I happened to transition to be at the Cultural Trust, and our president and CEO and Janice Burley Wilson and Tracy Emmons were all welcoming and willing to assist with activities taking place there and just maintaining a downtown location that was an alternate opportunity for us to have activities.
Who else is involved in the parade? We have the Cultural Trust and Highmark. Who else?
We have, of course, the organizer outside of the Housing Authority is the African American Chamber of Commerce. They've been a very integral part of making sure that this parade and the movement continues in the city of Pittsburgh. But we have various organizations who there's just too many to name right now, but they're all a part of this wonderful event. And Highmark is especially proud to be a sponsor of this event because it really gives us an opportunity to give back to the community, particularly as we begin to focus on the one trail site that we have is providing health information to the community.
And will you be in the parade?
I will be in the parade. Highmark will have one of our groups, we call them our business resource groups, our BNet group, who will be a part of the parade, marching in the parade. And then after the parade is over, they will also be working as helping out the vendors in Fifth Avenue Place.
How much does it cost to put on a parade in downtown Pittsburgh, and do the sponsors have to pay that? I mean, it's not free because of the extra resources the city has to call upon to.
Right. There's all kind of details in terms of you have to secure the parade route, of course. You have to secure police presence, and it runs normally about $20,000. Typically to put on a parade. And Highmark, of course, is one of the sponsors, but we have other sponsors who have stepped forth and understand the importance of giving back to the city.
How many people come out for the parade? Probably more people in the parade than watching, well, because everybody loves a parade. They want to march.
Everyone loves a parade. We're anticipating that there's going to definitely be over 1,000 people. When everything used to end and conclude at the August Wilson Center, there were over 1,000 people who just visit the August Wilson Center, and that doesn't include all the people along the parade route. So people will be stopping through because downtown Pittsburgh is an exciting place in the morning, and so they will be looking at the parade. They'll hear the wonderful music and come on down and support the event.
And what I love about this parade is just that the crowd is so diverse. I mean, sometimes you think of African American culture as being like homogeneous, but when you look at the kids and the older people and the bikers and the Greeks and the blue collar and the corporate young professionals, I feel like the parade brings out all of Pittsburgh. People cross the bridges, they come down, they celebrate African American culture, and it truly highlights the diversity of African Americans within the city and the rich and just wondrous history that Pittsburgh has.
And when you've both said the Greeks are involved, I think we need to explain what we're talking about when you say the Greeks.
Right. The Kappas, the wonderful brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi. You have Omega Psi Phi.
And they're wonderful too, right?
Yeah, they are.
But we understand now which one you are, right?
The lovely ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Okay.
Right. So. But I will say all the fraternities and sororities have been a part, and they do a wonderful job in terms of giving back to the community.
Right. And they come out?
And they do come out, yes, in full force.
Going back to that first parade 27 years ago, I remember that it was so diverse in terms of the participation, because I thought, well, will people think that the African American Heritage Day Parade is for African Americans only? Definitely not.
Right.
Isn't that something? Pittsburghers love parades. And they marched, back straight and with their uniforms, be it the veterans or the scouting groups or whomever. They just liked being participants in a parade. And this time it was the African American Heritage Parade. And maybe it was. There's a little something different or special about it. It's inclusive, isn't it?
It's an inclusive, and then we ask everyone to be a part of it. We don't exclude anyone. If you want to be a part of this parade, and particularly the movement that's taking place, we just ask them to come on and be a part of it.
How do they register? Who should they call?
They can contact Paulette, and I don't have her phone number here. Do you happen to have it?
No, but I believe you can email info@aa hp.org, and you'll be able to reach her by registering there.
Okay, and her name is Paulette.
Paulette, yes.
Okay. And does it cost to register?
That's a good question. I want to say no. I think they're more interested in making sure that everyone becomes a part of the group. A part of the parade.
And that's why you have sponsors.
That's why we have sponsors.
So that everybody can join in. And again, the theme is retrospective. You're looking back, right?
We're looking back.
Or are you looking forward, like the Sankofa bird, right? Look back to know where you're going?
Exactly.
Yeah. And again, Alex, you were saying some of the groups that have registered include high school marching bands and who else?
Fraternities and sororities. We also have various civic groups who have participated. There are the Black Nurses Association. They come out. A lot of the motorcycle clubs come out, and they bring their motorcycles and they put on a nice little show. So it's really, really inclusive of all the community groups in Pittsburgh.
And then not only the parade, but then you should plan to make a couple of stops at the Pierce Theater?
Yes,
Pierce Studio.
Pierce Studio.
Okay, and then the
PNC Legacy Project.
Okay.
And the Fifth Avenue Place, which is high, you can't miss it. It'll say High Mark up at the very top, but it's Fifth Avenue Place. And the interesting thing is, if they go to all three events, they'll get something at each one of those venues, and then you take it in, and then you're able to win. You'll be able to win tickets to the Motown event that's coming up.
So there are prizes too.
There's prizes too.
You can't beat that. Well, that sounds wonderful. And again, the event, the African American Heritage Day Parade, is Saturday, October 4th, starting at 11 a.m. Where does it start from?
It starts from 12th and Liberty Avenue, which is right by the train station, the former train station. Well, I guess it still is a train station.
And again, if you want to register, you still have time. You need to call Paulette at 412-392-0322. Thank you very much, Shonda Miles and Alex Matthews, members of the African American Heritage Day Parade Committee. Thank you for stopping by.
Well, thanks for having us.
That concludes another edition of Pittsburgh Profiles. I'm Elaine Effort, 1410 KQV News Radio.